Hey, what's going on, guys? Garden Shed here, and welcome. So, today, I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan about what I'm going to talk about. I don't have a plan about where I'm going, which is actually kind of nice. I was working it out, and I've not actually been for a ride, just a plain old ride, for a good amount of time. Like, just going for a ride because I feel like riding, without any set ideas or preconceptions about what I'm going to do. You know, every time I get on my bike, it's either to go to a meetup, a ride out, a bike show, a route I want to do, go see my grandfather, go on a trip. There's always sort of an underlying purpose to it, and every time I record, there's an underlying purpose to why I'm there on the bike. For me, the reason I started biking was because, you know, I wanted to get out and meet new people, and I wanted to experience new things. I think I've sort of touched on the subject before about why it's important to me that I ride my bike. I think about it, I've been riding now since 2015, so 4 years. It was May when I passed my CBT, and I've absolutely loved it. I really have. I started riding because, well, it's something that I've always wanted to do, or had always had an interest in. I'm a petrol head. Doesn't matter if it's cars, bikes, whatever, which on a side note will be a bit sad when everything goes electric. So I've always been interested in bike. You know, I went through some events and had really bad depression, and doctors were going to put me on the pills. Not the pill, that would be a bit weird. Put me on pills for it, and I was like, oh, and I tried, you know, counselling and mindfulness and all that bollocks. I thought no, because pills doesn't, for me, my logic of it was I'd forget to take them and then I'd go from a high to a low, but also pills, it's a bit like putting a bandage on a cut. You know, yeah, it helps, but it doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't solve the cause. It fixes the result of it. The NHS prescribing people tons of pills, for example, I really don't understand. Yeah, okay, you know, they get you on a high, but you can't be on those all your life. So what happens when you come off them? You just go back to life being a bit sad. I know being depressed isn't the same as being sad. So, you know, I was having to think about it, and my life had turned into, I was in a job I didn't like, I was turning into a recluse, you know, I'd spend days and days. If I had a day off, I'd just spend the whole day in my bedroom on my Xbox, shutting myself off from the world. I thought, enough is enough, I need to do something about it. So I thought, well, I've always wanted to learn to ride a motorbike, did my CBT and really enjoyed it, and I came home and told my dad, look, I've done my CBT, I put a deposit down on a 125, and he was always against bikes, as was my mum. You know, I went about it that way, and I said, you know, the purpose is for me to get out and enjoy life and, you know, meet new people and stop being a recluse. Well, it's done just that for me, and because of it, you know, I was a little bit happier when I wasn't at work. It sort of gave me motivation I needed to change things like my job. And ever since then, I've had, like this year alone, I've had so few weekends where I've actually been at home for the whole weekend, or even just a day. You know, I'll spend time out. Oh, wrong gear, very wrong gear. You know, at least one day of the weekend I'm out on the bike. The other day I'm with Hannah, who's now coming on the bike. So a lot of the time I'm actually off 2 days for a weekend. Even with Hannah, we don't go for a ride. We'll go and do an English heritage thing. We'll just go somewhere. So last weekend we went up to Guy Martin's pub for sort of a late, very, very late birthday lunch for me. Bearing in mind my birthday was in May. I can't remember why we didn't go. So that was amazing. And then we went over to the Humber and had a look at the Humber Bridge. So yeah, there's always a purpose to me being on the bike. Whereas today it's different. Today I'm just bimbling. Well, that's a new rule. They stop making you take your helmets off. Apparently it's been in rule for about 18 months. Well, I've been up here a few times in the last few years to Elpingham Garage. They've never made me take a helmet off. So yeah, they've never made me take a helmet off before. I didn't realise it was a rule, or else I would have done it straight away. It never really bothers me if I do have to take my helmet off. just one of those things. And normally, if I'm going into the shop, I do. Yeah, normally, I always take my helmet off. I just think it's a bit more polite for people in the shop, but I wasn't, especially now with my hearing, so I just can't hear them otherwise. But yeah, I normally fill up the bike and then sort of take it off as I'm wandering into the shop. More efficient that way, but apparently that's not acceptable now. I've really never understood why a lot of people tend to get a bit hacked off with petrol stations asking you to remove your helmets, and I've never understood why, because as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really make a difference. It's hardly the biggest effort, and like I say, it's a bit more polite to the cashier if you can hear them, and there's, I don't know, it's like I wouldn't talk to someone with a scarf around my mouth even if it was the middle of winter. I just wouldn't do it. And no, I'm not turning this into a burqa conversation. Any comments about banning burqas will get removed. So anyway, what was I? Yeah, so my life is massively better because of it. I'm much happier in myself. I get to go, and I've achieved my goal. I see amazing places. I meet new people all the time. I saw her on Facebook earlier when I stopped. Biker Pics is in the area, so I might wander over there and get a picture of me on my bike. I don't know if they charge you for it. Those of you that don't know his first name, Teapot 1, for being a naughty boy. Because he's a policeman, being a naughty boy, so someone basically reported him for riding fast in one of his videos. So they've, I don't know if it's the UK version, but Internal Affairs basically after him. Is it Policing Standards Agency or something like that? And although there's sort of no proof as such as his speeding, because he has a problem with his speedo where he gets to a certain speed and it goes blurry. But that's the problem they have. They're saying it's an honesty and integrity issue. Hopefully he manages to get through it. So yeah, biking's done everything I wanted it to. And I don't see it as something fulfilling a purpose or a means to an end, or it's something I never thought I'd enjoy it as much as I do. It was just something, I was willing to try to get me out my funky cycle. I get a bit miserable in winter, but everyone gets miserable in winter. Butt lane. I need to get a picture of that. I keep meaning to get a picture of it.